there's a wee TV with an arrow in it, and when you click on it, or you can use your remote, you get this screen here.
Yeah.
So it looks very confusing. It's just showing you all the available input on your panel. It will, by the way, disappear if you don't click on them. Okay. If I'm pressing on the remote, that's why I'm getting it back up again. The green dots are really important. They show that something is plugged into that device or that part. So something's in an OPS and something's in the HDMI 2. Now, if it's lit up basically like this, like the HDMI 2 is, it means that's the one you're on at the moment. So I can see that I have 2 inputs and one is lit up. You will always have your computer as HDMI 2. So if you're over on the other one, that's where it is. The only other one you have connected is OPS, and your OPS is what you've been using for the past week or however long it's been, and it's this here. So it basically turns your panel into, I suppose, like a big giant iPad. I'll take you through how it works, how to download apps, how to add it to the home screen, how to use what's called the pink bubble or the pink wheel, and do some mirroring, and then you can ask many questions and things like that. Alright?
Perfect.
Cool, don't be very worried. We'll go really slowly, so tell me to be quiet if you have any questions or anything like that. So along the bottom, I'll take you to the bottom first. So this looks like a Windows logo. The four little windows. This is your apps. So all of the apps you download to your device, to your panel, are saved in here. And they're split up into these different subsections. Okay. If you can't find the one you were looking for, so say you download, I don't know, an app beginning with B, you can use the search button, which is the magnifying glass. And that gives you all that beginning with B. So you just search for it, or if you know where it's going to be, you're roughly to have a look for it. Depending on how many apps you have on theirs, for example, YouTube Kids, we just downloaded, I showed you that earlier, and we've downloaded a couple of other ones as well. So we're looking at apps. One of the more important things to have a look at is the little cog. Okay. Cogs, the settings, because the cog brings you to here. This is the settings section, and there's so a couple of things to have a look at here. The first one would be the settings choice itself. So settings brings you into the settings of the panel, and it's just like a big phone. So you've got your Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, just sound, basically stuff you may never need to use, but if you ever were curious or wanted to change something, you probably could. For example, if I want to check I'm on the correct Wi-Fi, I am on C2K wireless. Okay, so I'm on the correct one, and that's really good just to check. If you want to make sure the Bluetooth was on, because you can connect some Bluetooth. Well, it's off at the moment, but we can put it on. So if you had a Bluetooth, like a Sphero or something like that, you connect to that, so it connect to any Bluetooth. So there's all the Bluetooth devices. Don't know what they are. It could be iPads, no ideas. We're not going to click on them, but they're just Bluetooth devices in this room that have Bluetooth on. That's all they are. Don't know what that is. Could be someone's Fitbit. Yeah, you can connect your Fitbit. Do you know what I mean? So you could connect in certain ways, but we're not going to do that. So I'll go back. One of the things pointed is the pink bubble. So you'll notice that I have 3 icons along the bottom when I was on my home screen with the apps. Now that I'm at a different one, this one remains, this stays on the screen all the time, and I can move it around out of the way of the kids if I want, or just keep it down. And it's called the pink bubble. And when I click on it, I get these 7 options, and we'll work our way through these rather slowly. The first 2 to look at now are the back button and the home button. So in a lot of ways, this is just like your home button on your iPhone. So if you're using something, I'm in a message here, and I want to go back and press back, it drops me back to my home screen. So if I want to go back 1 step, I press the back button, it jumps me back 1 step. Okay? I'm going back into settings there, and I'm going to go straight to the home screen. So from here, I don't want to go back 1 step, I want to go back a couple of steps, straight back to the home screen. Press this, press the home button, press me back home. Regardless of what app I'm in, that will always bring me back home. So if you're in Chrome or whatever you're using in your Go Noodle, doesn't matter, it will drop you back home. That's quite
Do we have Chrome through this now?
You can download it on from Play Store, and I'll show you. I'll put it on for you now. So
because some of the things weren't coming up because we didn't have Chrome.
You've Opera there, so I'll put Chrome on for you now. But we'll do that as we're downloading apps. It's probably a good idea to have a look. We're not going to talk about the next 5 here just yet. We'll talk about them in a wee minute. We'll have a look at downloading some apps. Okay, so at the moment we've got these apps, and you've put some on already yourself. I've put some on, so you do know how to do it, but we'll cover it anyway, if nothing else for the video, just in case we do forget. So when you open up your Google Play, it will look something like this. Okay, and we'll download some. There's Chrome sitting waiting for us there, coincidentally enough. So we'll click on that, and you click on install. Okay. When you install or install something, it will not automatically, you see it's installed there, jump onto your home screen. So I'm going to go back to my home screen, using my pink bubble, back to my home screen. when it finishes downloading, it won't jump. That's why Go
Yes,
Loon wasn't
I
on
can
there.
find
If
it.
you've ever used an Android phone, you'll be very familiar with mobile
Yes,
iPhones
it's
now.
very
It's in the
similar to
background.
the phone, yeah.
You drag it on. You have to drag it on. So wait, if you want everyone to check the status of something downloading, if you drag down from the top, you'll see
Oh.
some information. It tells you
It's exactly the same
it's
as the
exactly
phone.
like a phone. There's no difference, and you can swipe just to get rid of them and things like that. So it's installing Google Chrome as we speak. When wait till that finishes, it'll say installed, but you'll see it won't appear here. It won't appear just there, just yet. And we have to put that on manually. So there it is. Google Chrome successfully installed. So we'll get rid of that by swiping it, and we'll tap anywhere at all. We want to put it on. We can check. It's in our apps, and we can search for it if we want. It's going to be somewhere in here. There it is. There. Okay. People seem to think, oh, I can just click and drag. It doesn't work like that. That's not how you do it. So what you do is you click and hold in the middle of the apps until this little rectangle comes up, and you press add button. Don't worry about all of these choices. It's quite overwhelming. There only is two you ever need to worry about, and it's app and folder. The rest I'll never use, quite frankly. Press app, and it'll give you all the apps on your panel. There's Chrome there, but we'll just have a look around, and you choose the app you want to put in your home screen. You can search for it if you want, but we know Chrome's there. Press Chrome, and it appears there. Okay, I'll put another one on for you. You can hold. Okay. Add bubble. App. And we'll go to say. Settings. So let's put updates before we put on. Okay, update's really good because the software will actually give you free updates as time goes on. So if you hit this button here, that will show you what operating system you're on now, and you might think, well, what does that mean to me? Basically, all you do is hit online update, and it will go online and it will check to see if you have the latest version. Because it's all free.
Of everything.
Of not of the actual operating system, not of the apps on it. So by that I mean things like this. You might get a new app added in here and things like that. So that's routinely released by Promethean. I would say check it every half term. You come back to half term, give it a check, or about to go away for half term, give it a wee check. At the moment, it seems to be twice a year an update comes out. At the moment, it's a bit like your Apple phone, so you send updates to them and things like that. You've already done this, unwittingly or not, put a folder on, which is good because I'm going to show you how to do this. We've got some apps here. We want to start changing them, so we don't need this internet one anymore. If we click and hold, we go to remove. We don't need Opera because we've got Chrome. It's the better browser. We can hold, we go to remove. And we'll start choosing what we want on our home screen. So we're going to click and hold, and we're going to put app again, or bubble again this time, but this time we're going to go to folder. I'm going to make a wee folder. I have two empty folders on there at the moment, so I'm going to put on my Play Store. I'm going to just drag it in here. And I'll put my update in here as well. So I've now got a folder with two things. So I can make a maths folder, an English folder, a Wonderlands folder. You choose whatever you want to use. You want to take it out of the folder, just click on the folder, click on it once, and drag it out. You can drag both of them out if you want to. And now you've got an empty folder there. Get rid of that. Press and remove. So you can just sort of decide what you want to use it for. So far, so clear as mud. So I'm going to just make sure this is your proper browser for a wee second. Do you want me to add that account or not? I think all your bookmarks and things like that. I don't know if you want that or not. It's up to yourself.
Well, let me see. I had a key and all that information to get going to the class dojo anyway.
Well, let's put it in. That's okay. We'll just do this. If it does, you can always unsync it if it does, so it don't matter. That's okay. We're grand.
Do you see my email coming up there now?
Come up there.
It won't. That's okay.
So what we'll do is we'll look for something here. So I tell you what, we'll go to back in this. We'll go to my skill. So when you click on something and you want to type, this is the keyboard that comes up. It's quite small and the pink bubbles in the way. This wee hand here is quite faint. You can drag this around and make it so you can actually get to your height or out of the way of the pink bubble. We put my skill on here for a second and log in. Okay. I don't know your password. Do you want to log in or do you want to leave it? Do it in a minute. You don't do it now if you want to.
I want my skill on that.
Yes. Yes. Will you log in first then? Okay.
You see the folders you had there?
Yes.
Can you name those folders then?
Not at the moment, no.
No.
I'm saying not at the moment because this is the sort of thing a free update would come in with. There was a lot added. There was an awful lot added in the latest update, and it was all for free. So there's a lot of things people are asking. I'm saying not at the moment because they may very well add it.
Yeah. Because if you put a folder up there with your math and you'd like, another one's left
well,
saying.
It will show you the apps that are in that folder, so it will usually be fairly clear as to what it is. You'll see, a couple of maths.
Oh,
apps,
that's right.
You'll know what they are, but it's
yeah.
up to yourself. So
sorry, that was another question. If I have to key in my password and stuff like that, is there any way you can make it look small in the corner.
Oh, so they can't
where you
see.
can block
Well,
it.
you won't need to put your password in. What you would do, you would probably freeze the screen, or you would actually.
Just do it from the computer.
No, you can't do it from the computer because it's just showing you on this. The only thing, if you're putting your password in, usually it'll come up as wee dots. It shouldn't come up as the letters. Do you know what I mean?
Alright, okay.
So it won't actually come up. You type A, it won't come up as A, it'll come up as a wee dot.
Yeah.
So you're logged in here. I'm going to add this to your favourites. Okay. So that's bookmarks. So the wee star bookmarks thing. That's really cool. So what you can do with that is then, if you go to, is there another website you would use quite a lot? In school, I mean. I don't know. Well, we'll do Google. Google's one always.
Twinkle and stuff.
Twinkle's a good one. Yeah, it's used quite a lot. So I'll just Google. Okay. What's wrong?
Nothing. We're laughing at Twinkle. Twinkle's our second best friend.
Yeah, I know. I use it loads. It's just too expensive. Only problems. It's very, very dear. If you can split it across, it's very good. I won't sign in at the moment. I'll just bookmark that. So I've bookmarked 3 things. Okay, and that gives me a good opportunity to showcase the last button along the bottom here, the equal sign. Looks like nothing because there's nothing there at the moment. If you've ever used an Android phone, there's something called widgets on an Android phone. So widgets are like apps, but they're already open. So the way I had to go into Chrome there, right? And I had to go into Chrome by clicking it. I had to click in the address bar. I had to type in my school. I had to press enter. This will give you things that are already open. So you press the plus arrow, and it shows you all of the apps you have installed that allow widgets. Not all the apps do. You see, only the 3 apps we have at the moment allow widgets. It's random. I don't know what every app does for every widget, but the Chrome one I do know is very good, and you can put something like the bookmarks in. So what this is cool, I'll show you this. It's quite nice. So this is your bookmark. So we just add in Chrome. You click and hold, and you can make it bigger and smaller. So what's cool about that is you can keep adding bookmarks for things you use, and it means that instead of you having to go into Chrome, all you would do is click on this and go to My School, and it'll bring it up straight away. You don't have to actually. So you can, or you can click on Google, or you click on Twinkle, or whatever you happen to use. So you can access it really quickly straight away. Allows you to jump straight in.
How did you do that?
I'll show you again to work. I'll again to work. So
Alright.
go across to your widgets,
Yeah.
and you press the add button. Okay. At the moment, we've only got 3 things, so we'll do Chrome, but we'll do Chrome search this time. Okay. This is a different one. Okay, and I'll add it in just there. It's like search for Google. Bring Google straight away.
And could you put on test, please?
Oh, I was thinking of taste there actually.
If you want to get rid of it, by the way, you just click and drag it over to the bin. Okay. So test, you say yes. Is that a website?
Yes.
Oh, test. Sorry. Yes, yes. That's very good. Okay. Cool. Is that okay? Okay.
Has new bookmarks.
That hasn't loaded. So again, if we go across here, that one there. It will refresh. It'll give it time. It will refresh. We'll put it here. Bookmarks. There you go. It's in there now, so I can jump straight in. So it means you keep adding things in. Really useful to have, and you can check what apps you download. So if you use Google Calendar or anything like that, or Google Classroom, they all have good widgets as well.
What's Google Classroom?
It basically allows you to do work at home or in a different area or on a different device. So I used it to send my pupils homework, and they would do it at home and then send it in. I would get notifications on my phone that would just say, Joe Bloss finished his homework, and I'd be able to mark it from any device anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world really. Very cool. It's free as well. So the Google stuff's really good if you want to. I won't talk too much about it because I don't want to overwhelm. There's lots you can do with it, but they are pretty cool.
Just want to look up that.
Yeah, no, they are excellent. They're very, very good. Right, so we've looked at apps, we've looked at downloading apps and how to add them in, how to remove them. If you want to uninstall an app permanently, so we've got some apps here. Now, we don't probably won't install any of these, but if you want to uninstall, we won't uninstall, don't worry. You have to click on it, hold click and go to uninstall. We won't do it now.
Yep.
I'll add YouTube Kids in as well, sorry, to this. Okay, so add bubble, generic app, and we'll find YouTube Kids. So YouTube Kids. Okay, you can download different wallpapers for your panel as well. So if you click and hold in the middle, I've already downloaded one for you. It's called a live wallpaper, which kids usually quite like, but you can search for any kind of live wallpaper or just find pictures. So if you go to change wallpaper, it'll bring you to this sheet here. And all you go to, you can ignore these two, you go just to gallery. Okay, it'll give you a choice of what kind of wallpaper you like. Do you want a regular wallpaper, as in still to move, you can't interact with it, or do you want a live one? In this case, we want a live one. Okay, and with 2 choices, bubbles or koi. I've downloaded that for you, but bubbles is the one that comes standard. So in yours, it's not yours now. Whoever's panel this isn't, then it'll be on this one. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, right.
You're with me,
yes,
yeah? So
yes,
I go to Koi
Mhm.
and I go to set wallpaper.
Oh, very good.
So this is live. So
Oh,
then
looks.
That's dead.
but you can also scare the fish away. So
Oh,
the water, you see?
And is there all different like
Yeah,
ones you can pick
There's
from?
thousands.
Oh, very
But
good.
try them out, experiment, see what like topic wise. I would ask usually what topic you do and try and get one that fits in the topic.
Oh,
Oh,
pirates now. So
Yeah, I'm
that's
sure you'd find perfect. Yep, I'm sure you can find a pirate one as well. I'm sure. You can scare the fish away.
Oh,
That's
that's very
kind of
good.
cool. So it works really well just like that. So that's the.
oh, they'll be going mad, Ashland.
Oh, it's cool. It's very cool. So we've covered our apps, we've covered our widgets, we've covered how to download apps, how to delete them, how to install them, how to add them in. We're going to look at the pick up on the rest of these ones here now. So we've covered these two. The back button brings you one step back. The home button always brings you back home. This next one is the whiteboard. This is what you probably use the most. I don't know if you used this yet. Have you used it? So this is for you, and you'll know then, this is for whenever you're taking information from pupils. So down the side here, I'll take you through these options. We'll go first of all, we won't start at the top because it doesn't really make sense. We'll start in the middle somewhere. So you've got your arrow tool and you've got your pen tool. So your arrow tool, what it does, it allows you to grab objects. The moment we've got no objects to grab, so there's no point in using it. The pen tool allows you to write. Simple as that. You can click on it once and you get different thicknesses. I like using that one. And you get different colours as well. Okay, 4 different colours, or 5 rather, and you've got a wee palette with different colours there as well, if you want to use them. I'm going to use black here. I'm going to just write just here. The older whiteboards, you had one touch, so you can have one person touching it at a time. This one you can have 20.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get 20 people using it at the same time. We're not going to do that. You probably won't do that. I imagine have 20 kids up at the same time, but you could. If you wanted to rub it out, click on the rubber and you can rub it out. You can also rub it out by clicking this one here. This looks like a wee eraser with a sheet. It wipes the whole page for you. Okay. If you use the pen, so I'm going to click on the arrow. So my aim is to grab. So see, it's not drawn. It's trying to grab something. There's nothing to grab. If I use the pen, regardless of what I'm on, it will always draw. Okay. So regardless of what I've chosen, this it realizes. Oh right, okay, that's what I'm trying to do. It'll always draw. One nice little thing is if you are, say you're doing the date and you write the wrong date down by mistake, okay? You go, oh, there's no such thing as 13th. Rather than you having to go over here, press the button and delete it, you can use the side of your pan to rub it out, okay? Because that essentially is just like this eraser, alright? Just like that. So just take the, I'll be honest, I don't even use the eraser because the pan's just easier to use personally. But it's a good thing to know if you need to rub things out, you can use the side of your pan.
I noticed as well when you're rubbing it, you can actually get more than one rubber.
Yeah, you can, yes, as well.
So
when you're doing it,
yeah.
like you can. When you're rubbing it as well, you can get quite a lot of different thicknesses there as well. I don't think that one works that way now. There's a back button and there's an undo button as well. So you can go back and forth there. And a forward button, which is quite useful to know if you want to repeat things. And the last one, the bottom section is this one. Looks like a protractor and a ruler. And these are your maths tools, they're brilliant actually. So you move it around.
Wait on the square paper or the paper.
Yes,
smaller.
yes, oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm sure you know this, but you can make it bigger and smaller like that. You can just click and draw it. Okay, so you just actually put your finger on it, just like that. Okay. You can just
Yeah, I was doing it one day. It takes a wee bit of practice.
It does. It takes a bit of practice, and it'll stay on the screen till you press the wee X there. That's how you get rid of it. Tractor. I want to use 2 of them. It's here. And what you do is you move it. Have you used this yet? No. So say I want to measure this angle, okay, and I want to use red, the colour of my angle. I just draw on it, just here. Okay, it's just the same way. Just the same way, okay. If I press the X button, it goes away, and this is where my arrow comes in, because now I do have objects to grab. So my arrow comes in, I can grab this, and I can say this is a good AQE or GL question. I could say, you know, is that angle the same size as that angle? And then I go, well, I don't know, I have to visualise it, but if you literally lift it, you can see exactly the same size. Is that angle the same size as that angle, or that angle? You can just spin it around. It is.
Wow.
Okay. Now you're changing the size and the scale, but you're not changing the proportions. So although I'm making it bigger or smaller, the proportions are staying the same. So that's a really good way of showing that. Look, I can make it as big as you want, but it's not going to fill that angle. You know, it's not going to work like that. And you can spin this around as well. And again, you can rub it out if you wanted to, just like that, there. So far, pretty good.
Print out.
Printing, I'll come to that.
Okay.
You can connect that
Far
with
ahead.
printer if you can. If you have printer. Otherwise, you would just send it to email to yourself, print it out via that. It's the best way of doing it. And you can put an email on that. Remember, you can put Gmail on this using the apps, so you can do that if you want to. Do you want to do that?
That would be the easiest. then.
Probably the best way if you don't have a wireless printer. Be the best way of doing it.
Because I tried to put my USB in and it wasn't working.
It will work through USB and you can transfer, but it's maybe easier to email it to yourself because you're connected, I'm sure, via that to your printer. So that one's still over.
You'd be better putting in your school address, would you not?
Right, so back into
Okay.
our whiteboard. So we've missed out these top bits here. So-
Sorry, could I get my
Yes.
school email on that?
Yeah. Oh, now what do you use for your school Outlook, or what program do you use to access your school email? Do you know? There is C2K, but I think it's Outlook. I think you can.
You were in my school.
Yeah, you can
Sorry.
probably you do it while I'm on this. You can do it while I'm on this here. You can do it while I'm on there. You can probably. I think it might be Outlook, to be honest.
Yeah, I think you're
It is
right,
Outlook, I
actually,
think,
it is.
yeah.
You go in via. So you actually you don't have a program for what you go in. Yeah, it is Outlook. Yeah. You go in via the C2K, which is fine.
Can I do that there then?
Yeah, we can connect your thing up. I think so.
Oh, that'd be great.
Maybe still downloading, possibly. I'll do it afterwards. I'll download it at the moment. Can I just double check?
And then you can show me how to print the documents from the board.
Yes. Oh yeah. Well, you would just send them emails directly to yourself. I'll show you how to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. It's okay. So we've got our instant whiteboard here, and we'll skip these two for now, and we'll come to these ones. At the very top here, there's 3 dots. If you want to open a new document, press new. Open an old one, save a document, save as, the usual sort of stuff. You can export things as well, which we'll talk about when we get the email set up. And if you want, this may suit yourself. If your chair in the way, I can't really sort of in the way to teach. I can toolbar position. I'll move it to the other side for me, so I don't need to. I can be teaching here because it's very easier for me to teach here, so I'm not blocking the whole screen the whole time. But it's up to yourself. Click the 3 bars, go to toolbar position. You can move it back over. The little save button just saves it, as you would imagine. And the 2 heads here, it's called 2-player mode, and it takes this away and splits them into 2 parts. So you can have 2 players, 2 people using it at the same time. You could do some symmetry, things like that. And I just do it randomly. If I press the delete button, the delete all, okay, it'll delete it all. Sometimes, if I do say this here, press the delete button, it will keep what's on the other side. So if I did here, just random shapes. Some random shapes here. You see it'll only delete my side. It won't delete the other side there. And I could use the ruler as well. So it's quite nice to be able to like maths, do times tables, game, things like that. Who could think of the most spelling, just all sorts of stuff. And the last 2 things here, the first one is the little grid, and you've used the grids before obviously. You press a grid to get an extra grid. If you want to change the colour of the lines, you press the little squares, or rectangles I should say. So you choose the red, blue, black or green. Okay. You can change also to different types of pages, so lined paper, you can have music notes, handwriting, things like that. If you want to change the colour of the page, it's the circles. Okay, just very quickly. So
That's for handwriting, no?
well, that is, yeah, the house, top, middle and bottom. I think it's an American thing possibly, but I don't know. I initially thought that was handwriting, but it's
No,
just
it's
music
music.
notes, just notation. If I went to say this here, and I wanted to make these bigger or smaller, you use your arrow tool and you can pinch and you zoom in, zoom out to make them bigger and smaller. Okay, it's quite useful to know.
You do know that Master McGinn's in trouble now, don't you?
You all want one?
So the last one then is this one. It looks like 2 pictures being mounted on it. This is your templates and your pictures. So at the moment you probably don't have very much in your gallery. You've got nothing in your gallery at the moment, but you always have templates and charts. So you've loads of stuff here. You've got hundreds of charts, periodic table, if you ever needed it. T-charts, which are good for pros and cons, mind
There's
maps,
clocks up there.
geoboards, clocks, all sorts of stuff.
I
So
was thinking it was bound to be a clock. I was doing it.
oh yeah, well no, it's a blank clock. It's blank, so there's no hands on it. It's just a blank clock. So I'll show you this for example. It's the mind map. Okay, completely blank and it drops it in for me. I'm on my arrow, so grab objects, and I can move that around the page. Okay, I can also make it bigger and smaller. Like that. If I want, that's not enough lines for me. There's not enough there. If I'm doing a mind map, I should have been a writer. I was a teacher by the way for 10 years, so I've used these to teach and stuff. So when I was doing this, you want a lot more bubbles than that. You don't want just 4. So I'm going to add my own in. Okay. Here. Still not enough, if I'm honest with you, but it'll do for now. If you press your arrow tool and you go back to move this, you'll see they all stick together. You don't need to press anything, and if you make them bigger or smaller, they'll stick automatically. So it realises, look, it wants to keep this on, so we're going to use. If I'm going to do something like, let's say we're doing the Amazon, okay, for example, okay, and we take information from the people about the Amazon, blah, 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 blah. You will notice that I've taken quite a large proportion of my page up there, and there's actually no button, because we've covered them all now, there's no next page button, like ActivInspire or PowerPoint. Do you remember the old blackboards? The ones you slid down and like you had stuff written on them, sorry. It's just like that, but doesn't go up and down. It goes left and right as well and diagonal. It's what's called an infinite canvas. So the idea is I drag like a room, so using my arrow, I just scroll up. If you look at the top right hand corner there, I'm just moving the page. It looks like I'm moving the object, but I'm actually moving the page because this stays up there. If you imagine it's there, okay, and I still got my information. So I can do something here, some spellings. And go right now, we're going to do something on the Amazon I prepared earlier, bring it down, do that.
I was doing file a new page and saving.
Really?
Because I didn't know.
Well, that's like, yes, people will save initially and things like that, so you can use that and you can rub it all out. So, drop this out here. Let's use that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding in different apps and how to use those. So I'm going to go press my home button, or my big button, and I go home. I'm going to use YouTube Kids here, okay? There's a wee intro here. I would admit that always. YouTube Kids is great. It has this blasted intro every time, so maybe it's like 2 seconds. I think once you do it once, just copy in and get rid of ads. So we're going to search for something here. Because it's the first time we've used it. You will obviously have it up. Do you want to put something in here? We'll just put something for the school maybe. Make it yourself.
1974 maybe.
I don't think it matters. Yes, that's it. I thought it was 7 years there. It's okay. So you won't need to do this. I'm happy to do that. Okay. Okay. Do you have your password there for Google?
I'm thinking my email's on there and I'd rather have it off
You
now.
can take it off if you want. Yeah, you can take it off if you want.
Gmail, I can't even think.
That's always the way, isn't it? If it doesn't work, we'll put the regular YouTube one on and then I'll delete it afterwards. This is just show you how you can do stuff. Well, don't worry about that now. Look, we'll worry about it in a minute. I'm going to put YouTube on the regular one, but I'll take it off in a wee moment. It's only to show you how to grab things, and then we can do it properly. So, okay, that's installed, so to speak. So the idea then is, and what we're going to show you, I'll come back to it in a minute, is you're meant to use different forms of me, different apps, and integrate them into your thing. So we'll skip that out for a minute. We'll come back to it when it downloads. We're in our test group thing on the Amazon, and we want to have some group work. So you've got, say, 4 groups in your class, okay? And you want to have some, say they have to think of as many animals from the Amazon as they can. You want to time it, and you want to differentiate it to different times for each group. That would usually be very difficult to do, and one of the apps here is the timer. Okay, we'll come back to these two in a moment, but we'll use the timer for now. So when the timer comes up, you will get a clock, okay, just like this. And if I move this out of the way, you'll see I've got some options here, and it'll just show you a nice clock. If I press the drop-down menu, you can see I've got a clock, I've got a timer, and I've got a stopwatch. I'm going to press the timer there, and I've got a nice timer. I've got some preset times here. If I wanted to use them, let's say they're going to be 10 minutes. I wanted 4 groups, okay, differentiated ones to be specific. So if I press this button here, the plus arrow, I get another clock. I press plus again, I get another one, plus one, I get another one. You have up to 4 clocks on it, and we're going to give them differentiate, so they get 5 minutes, they get 7, and they're getting 8, and they're getting 10, because obviously they're quicker than they are and things like that. So that's great. I've got 4 different groups. They know what their times are. Right, you're A, you're B, you're C, you're D. Great. Or different colours maybe. The problem there is I maybe want to see who's doing what in each group. Maybe they're doing it on the board together, because I can have 4 people up here doing it. I can have 4 writing at the same time. And I can't write on this moment because it's a clock. I press this button here, there's 2 arrows touching. It shrinks the clocks down and puts them on top of my screen. So I can actually use them. So I can say, right, someone from group 1 come up here, someone from group 2 come up here, group 3 and group 4. Okay, I can split them down the middle. And they come up over there. They come up. Someone come up, I can have 4 people writing at the same time, so I can say, right, hit your timer, I hit your timer, and write as many animals as you can think. Okay, on one there, press my pencil. I can be writing things up here as we speak, and writing things there. You know, 4 people working at the same time. Okay, which would be quite nice to use. I can stop them anytime. I can reset them. I can turn them off as well, and I can move them around. And that's the timers you can use for pretty much anything. I use timers all the time when I was teaching. I'm sure you're the same, but it's really, really useful to have. The other one is this spinner. So do you use lollipop sticks for names still?
Mhm.
So this is
No, we have it in.
So you've got some names, okay? So you've had this already, have you?
Mhm.
Brilliant, fantastic. You know how to use it then.
Mm-hmm.
But it's brilliant. So you've got your lollipop sticks, but you maybe didn't know you can actually minimise it as well. So press the minimise button, you can put it on here, which is cool.
So you can use it actually directly then.
Well, it means you can use it to teach, yeah. So what I did in maths was I would spin the wheel and then say, you know, that's how you do some maths. Okay, and then I would say, right, very good. Reset that. Just there. Do it again. Maybe clicking sound. Sort of thing. Means you're constantly keeping on their toes.
How did you minimize it for you? How did you bring it onto the board?
Oh, you're on the board. You just hit the button here. I'll show you here now.
The arrows?
This one here.
Mhm.
Okay. Which is quite nice. So, YouTube should be ready to go now. Let's have a look. There we
That's
go.
a great idea, that we having that up in the corner.
So, I'm going to show you a video on the Amazon. You're okay with animals and insects and things like that? Is that okay? So it's in the video, so that's all it is. So it's up here. Okay. So, I was hopefully there's no ad on this. So we've got this video running. One of the apps we can use is this one here. You see this pink pen? This is a match. Remember the old, this is even older again, the old cellophane sheets used to use on the light projectors. You used to put a cellophane sheet down, and used to write on like a full tip pen, used a light projector, and it used to shine. I know actually when I was in high school I had it up. It's like
all the
that.
time. Spellings every week.
So imagine I put a plastic sheet across this. This comes up when I've hit that wee button, that pink button. I can now write on top of this plastic sheet without touching the video. So I could write up, say for example, all of the animals that I'd seen. I can circle things, although it will move because it's a live image. Okay, I can rub that out as well. Things like that. I can add things in, you know, highlight things like that. If I want to highlight things, I can use anything. If I press the wee eye, the writing disappears. When I press the eye, it's as if I've taken my cellophane sheet and passed it off, and now I can interact with the video. Okay? If I click the eye again, it's as if the cellophane sheet goes back on. You with me? Yeah? I press the X, I permanently take the cellophane sheet off. Okay? So at the moment, I'm happy with this wee video, this wee comedian or whoever he is, and I want to use him in my lesson. We're going to do a poem about him because we want to do something about lizards. So we press this button, and the last one we haven't used so far is this one. This is the light blue one. This is a screenshot button. Takes a picture of what you're looking at, and it puts it into your whiteboard, your interactive whiteboard automatically. So that's now in there now. And what I can do is shrink this down, move it across. I can use it in my lesson. So I could use that as part of my lesson. I can add in as many screenshots as I want from anything, which is a nice thing to have. So it's cool.
What button was that? Sorry.
It was the light blue one. Light one there. It takes a screenshot of whatever I'm looking at. I could be on a web page with some text and stuff, and I could take a screenshot of that and drop it straight in, and that'll jump in there, which is quite nice. I'll show you some mirroring, and then I'll do this because I don't want to take too much of your time up. So the mirroring is if you've got a device and it's connected to the same network. So I'm only going to use 3 because my iPad's being used at the moment. You use this app here, it's called ActivCast. So ActivCast brings this up here. What I've done is I've renamed your panel. because when you'll see in a moment why, when you're trying to mirror to a device, it'll bring up the same name almost. So you don't want to accidentally send things to the wrong panel. So at the moment I've got primary 2 and 3, this is this panel, and on my device, and hopefully it works here, if I scroll down from the top right hand corner, I get this screen mirroring. Can you see that there? And you press that, and there it is there. You see, it looks like the Apple TV logo, P23. When you click on it, okay, it might ask you for a code. So the code's will be keys. 7099, press OK, and it will ask me, do Stuart Montgomery's iPhone wants to mirror onto the screen? I'm going to press OK. Okay, I'll do the same for the other two I've got. So I'm now showing what I've got on the screen. So I'll show you again. So screen mirroring, P23, 7099, press OK. Press the
So if you had a video on the iPad,
yeah, you can show it there. So you can show that video you're doing
way
now.
to do it.
Could be, yeah, definitely. That's a very good way of doing it. If you have a video and you didn't want to transfer it,
Yeah.
it's a good way of doing it.
So like even if you had a video of them, say, practicing their singing and stuff, you could show it all to
Oh yeah.
up on this.
We had people who videoed the school play, and we showed it mirroring on that.
Oh,
Now it's dependent on your internet, obviously. Your stream seems okay, but if your internet was dodgy for a day, you never know what the CGK wireless is like. It'll be a little bit, a bit laggy, but at the moment it seems absolutely fine. It seems grand. If I get you to, where is this now? If you hold that for a second, I'm going to go to, yeah, sorry, hold that one for me. I'm going to hold that for me. Don't worry, I'm not filming. So what I've used the camera tool, just the basic camera tool on a device. I'm not recording, I'm just showing the camera tool. And what I'm doing is I've created 3, could be 4 for the fourth one connected, but 3 camera live feeds of my classroom. So when I was doing group work, I would hand a device to a child, say you're the camera person for this group, for this lesson, because I don't have to be tethered to that panel. I could be walking around the room and I could say, everyone here, look group 1, isn't that brilliant work? Group 1, show me the green table. That's absolutely brilliant, group 1, look at that brilliant work there. Group 1, show me your planner for this week, or for this, show me your planner there. Everybody can see what their planner is by just looking up group 1 there. They don't have to actually do it, they're able to see everything. And if you use things like, if I say, you guys, can you find me a circle in the room? Use your camera and find me a circle. No.
Find me a circle. Go find your circle.
Yeah, find your circle, yeah. Find me a circle.
I was going to my cup.
Yeah, okay, find me a circle, perfect. I got one there. So I can use my annotate, and I can go, right, let's have a look. There's one there, brilliant. That's 2 circles, oh that's brilliant, that's really good. Oh, there's 2 circles in there as well, that's cool. Choose your liquid, you can do something with science, or liquid changes shape. What I can then do is I can use my screenshot, take a screenshot of that, and I'll put it into my lesson. So I can now take work that I'm doing and actually move it around. So there you go. I'm moving things around. So you can see how I'm grabbing different things and pulling them in, so it's not just, here's a textbook, do what you want to do. I'm pulling different strands of media. You put it down now if you want to, sorry, thank you very much. One of the cool things to remember is this, if you scroll up from the bottom, okay, you get this sort of translucent bar, and to be honest, the only thing you need to worry about with this is this little square. Because the square, when you hit it, shows you all of the apps that you have open at the moment. So I've got ActivCast and Whiteboard, YouTube, and you can just scroll up if you want. If you're not using that anymore, close the app. Because sometimes you'll hand your phone to someone who's very techy in the family, and they'll say, my phone's dead still, and they'll go, oh, you've got 1,000 tabs open up, and you didn't know, if you've got 100 programs opened up, but this is just a good way of closing. So I'm not going to use this one, closing them down, just like this, okay, just like that. So I'm not using this one, but I'm going to put it back on my ActivCast because it remembers that I'm connected, and it still has my 3 devices connected there. They're all connected, just the same, okay, there's no difference there. If you want to focus on one device in particular, this one here for example, you double tap, okay? You double tap again. You want to get rid of a device, click, swipe up. Okay, get rid of the device, get rid of it there. So that means you can do, someone's acting up with it, right, you're off. You're not doing it properly. If you want to use. So I'm going to focus on this one. I'll show you some cool apps you can use here. So these are apps I use all the time. They're the AR apps, not accelerated reading, something different. So one of these apps is called Figment. These are all free, by the way. Figment as a figment of your imagination. So it's a camera app. I'd like to show you what's going on here. This camera, and I'm going to do maybe appropriate for you guys to do pirates sort of. So we're going to do something about the ocean. We're story about going under the ocean, maybe a pirate going under the ocean. But we want the way of, suppose, getting ideas and inspiring people's writing. So I'm going to click on one of these doors. I'm going to click on the purple ones. Okay, and a doorway appears in my classroom. Okay, See the doorway?
Mhm.
I give this to a pupil and I say, I want you to go inside the doorway with your camera. So they're going to go inside the doorway, just inside the doorway.
Oh my god, isn't that deadly?
Okay. So they now we're in the ocean. Okay, they're in control. They're looking around. We could be writing down things. Remember, we could be using our desktop annotate to write down 5 W's. We could write down sights and sounds. Bombard me with ideas. It's really, really great. But it's really inspiring. The coolest thing about this app is you are all teachers. You know that in someone in your class, you did boy. There will be someone 20 minutes after you finish when everyone's scribbling away. He is still swimming around. Swimming around, he's backstroking. And the cool thing about the app is if you look back, there's our doorway back into the classroom. So it creates a very nice divide for, look, this is us under the water, we're getting our ideas. Now we're going to give it to him or her if you need to. We're going back into the classroom now. We're back in, right now we're ready to work, and now we're going to do what we need to do. There are 5 different options. Like there's a mountain, there's a city, there's a town, there's an island, and there's a underwater ocean. That's all there is at the moment because it's a free app. But when they add more,
What's that app called?
Figment,
Okay.
as in figment of your imagination.
Oh,
It's very, very cool.
And can you get that on the board? No, you have
You
to have
can,
it
but you
on
don't
the
have a camera attached to it. You see, it's only you can attach the camera to that, but it's maybe better on this, I think, because you can actually move around the room. You can move around the room, and you've quite a bit of areas to go into. We'll have a look at this. So let's have a look. I won't show you them all because. This is a bit like Snapchat. I don't use Snapchat or Instagram. I generally don't use them. I mean, see there. But it's quite a kid-safe one. It's called MSQRD. And I use this for roleplay quite a lot. So it's all safe. There's nothing dodgy on it. But things like we're doing something on space. Okay? So I've got space. And if I flick my head up, I have nothing opens. Flick down, my thing closes. Okay? That's really good if I'm getting them to read a story out. So we've written space stories. Right. Rather than me just reading it in front of the class all done nervous, I said, right, you're going to be an actual spaceman and you're going to read it out. And we're going to record it on the phone. We can record it on the board there, which is quite cool. MSQRD, it's called. MSQRD. I don't know why it's called that, I don't know what it stands for, but it's very good. There are others, I'm not showing you them all because time and things like that. Let's think now. Do you have any EAL pupils in school? Okay, so use for flat then. Seeing AI is very good. So I had two EAL pupils in last year, and they had no English, like none, 0, like 1 word, like toilet was all they had, and because they're refugees from Syria, there's nothing. We need to find a way of getting them to learn a little bit by osmosis, and we use this app. It's designed by Microsoft, and it's actually designed for people with poor visual skills, but it works really well for vocabulary building. So you've probably heard that wee robot voice saying short text there. Along the bottom we've got these choices, and they're different subjects I'm going to look at. So I'm going to choose colour. And when I point at something, he's going to tell me what colours. He's a bit hit and miss because of light quality. So at the moment that is kind of great, and even though it's blue, if I find some brighter colours like blue or green.
Green and brown.
So green, yellow hopefully.
Orange and brown.
Orangey yellow maybe.
Orange.
Orange, yeah. You get what I'm saying?
Black.
Red here.
Red.
Okay. You have to give him a wee second.
Yeah.
Blue.
Blue. Okay, so you get the idea.
Red.
Pink, maybe purpley pink.
Red.
Reddy pink. Does look kind of red to be fair. No, it does kind of red. Try green.
Red and green.
Red and green. So he's picking up
Red.
colours. He's hit and miss, but he's very good.
Multicolor.
Scene is very good. So I'm going to
Preview.
take a picture of this chair. Just be tapping the screen.
Processing.
Okay.
Probably a laptop computer sitting on top of a table.
It's giving me nouns there, and it's giving me pronouns as well. On top of, it's giving me nouns. I did this in school once, and it said a messy desk with a computer and all. You know, oh my goodness. But it was at least giving you adjectives and things like that. It's very nice. You can even try with people.
Person. One face near top edge 10 feet of one process. 30-year-old man with black hair and a mustache looking neutral.
It's de-aged me a year, I'm 41, so it's quite close.
Oh my
You can try it with your friends and fall out with
One
them.
face near one face near
But it's
one
very, very
face.
good.
0 faces.
You can send it out and things like that. So that's the AR. And the last thing I show you is this. And I need this for that because of cost. So the last thing we'll do is buy more good stuff. You just put money on a panel. But it's cool, and you can have it with the school. You can use it with an iPad. So although I'm showing these are mirroring, there's no reason why you couldn't be using these if you had an iPad, just one-on-one or in little groups. You don't need a panel for these. This is called Merge Cube, and you do quite a few things with it. So put your hand out for me, just flat like that. This is a device that triggers. There's 6 or 7 different apps, and they're all free. That costs like 25 quid. You see why in a minute. It's quite squishy, so it's pretty malleable, and pupils aren't going to wreck it. If you're doing space, okay, so you can move that around if you want. Okay, you can turn it around, things like that. So you literally have a solar system in your hand. Okay, so if you move it out of frame, it will jump out. But what you can do, you'll actually notice that the planets are moving at the same pace as they should be. So, i.e., Mercury is moving faster than Jupiter, for example, and they're all spinning on their axis as well. I can zoom right in, have a look at the asteroid belt there. I can screenshot this, remember, take a snapshot, do all sorts of stuff there. There's loads of apps there, thank you very much. There's loads of apps there you can use. There's one about the body, about the heart. Mr. Body is very good. It's P3 focus, I think, is quite good for that. It's pitched lower, and there's loads of free apps. So I'll show you this from Merge Cube. So if I hold this up here, so I can look here, choose lungs, for example. I can move the little operating room around, clicking these wee dots. So I'm interacting with it on my phone. It's a bit tricky, things like that. So you want something that's interactive, kinesthetic, I suppose, but everyone can take part of. This is a really good opportunity for that. And that's it. That's it. There's loads of stuff there. We get set up with your Outlook, hopefully, and you'll be able to email stuff. But I say hopefully we'll go from there.
Did you show us how to link the computer to it, or how we can flick from having it?
Yeah, your computer keeps closing down, as in going into rest mode, which you have to check in your settings because it obviously closes itself down. So what I mean by that is your computer is sort of closed there. You gotta give your mouse a wiggle to wake it up. To change it, you just go to Input, and you choose the other green one, the one that's not lit up. I'll jump straight onto that one for you, depending on what you're using. So there you go.
Yeah.
Jump straight onto that. But that should be you.
And how do you print then?
So if you have something you need to print, depends what you're using. So what would you be printing, for example? And I'll show you how you'd be able to do
One
that.
of the documents from the.
So one of the whiteboard documents with all the planners. So the best way of doing it is you can actually export it as a PDF, which is the best way. So I'll show you this exactly what I mean. So let's say you have a document, right? And we've got this here, some plan stuff. And actually we'll go down a bit, so we'll go off screen and we'll do some more. Let's do a story mountain. We'll do a story. Okay. So we'll go up here. Now as you can see, we have several things in our planner. If we zoom out a bit, you can see quite a few things there in our planner. Okay, quite a lot. So if we zoom in, this is what we have at the moment. If I wanted to print just what I have on the screen, so leaving out the mind map, leaving out the story mountain, I press the top and I go to export PDF screenshot, just what's on the screen. Okay? And it will export it as a PDF. It will then ask you where you want to put it. Do you want email? Do you want to put it into Google Drive? Do you want to put it somewhere? It depends where you want to put it. So there, it's going to ask me, do I want to send it via Gmail? Do I want to send it to device? Do I want to Bluetooth? Send it via Outlook? You can put Gmail on here because you already have it on, and just send it to your school email. You don't have to have the other one. It doesn't matter what email you're sending it from. Doesn't really matter because you're going to send it to your school one. So if I said Gmail, right, what it will do is automatically attach that PDF, okay, and automatically attach that PDF, and you wouldn't do this with the kids, or what you would do afterwards when your kids are away. There's that PDF, and you would send it to yourself, your actual Outlook. Yeah, you'd send that, and what you'll get is, may not let me open it actually, is this PDF, which will be the exact same thing. I'm going to go back a second, okay? If you wanted to send all of the whole thing, so you might have a topic that you've done for months and you've loads of stuff, you do the whole canvas, export PDF as a canvas, and it will give you everything.
I'm sorry, can you save it as a canvas then?
Yes.
When you save it, it's a canvas that's saved?
Well, when you save it, you can save it as either both. When you press save up here, it saves it as a whiteboard document that you can interact with and change. When you export it as a PDF, you turn it into a PDF which you can then print. Because you can't open up this whiteboard document on that computer. You need to be on a panel. Are you with me there?
Yeah.
So if you want to print it, you have to make it into PDF, and that allows you to turn it into a PDF. You press how you want to change it. I would send it via Gmail, and then I would send it to say myself. There's that whiteboard document there. If you want to send it, then I'll show you. So if you what's your address, you can type it in, or I can put it in yourself. Just your sheet to type one. And I go in here, show you what I mean. When you go in here, I'll jump in there. So we'll press send, it's just up here. Okay. That's going to send the message out. So it should come through. Refresh that. This. In a second.
Sometimes it doesn't let you, like, Hotmail and things, it won't,
This is Gmail, shouldn't matter. Should be
it
absolutely
should,
fine.
it should be alright.
Check and job. It can take a while sometimes for things to be started. Let's see there. So we'll have a look on this issue. So we'll change over here. Okay, there's your PDF, which will open. That's it. So that's your canvas that you just done. Just open that. So now you're able to and you can print that directly from what you were doing there. So I think that's as easy way as any way to do it. To send it on, because it means you can sort of still use it. Yeah, if you wanted to, or if you want to save it because you're still basically at the end of a topic, that'd be something you do. When you finish a topic and finish now, really good bit of evidence and a big PDF, and I can send it on to that. And I printed it, just strip it down to fit on the piece of paper anyway. So that's the best way I would do it anyway. Is that cool?
That's excellent, yeah.
Cool. Cool. Any other questions, queries, anything we'd have a look at before I dash off or before I let you go? I don't want to keep you too long, you see. I mean, the number's there, so don't worry too much if I leave and something pops into your head, because you can send me an email, or you can just give me a phone and I'll certainly do what I can to see if we can get things sorted. But that will be certainly the basics.
Yeah.
It may not seem very
It's
basic,
like
but
live video on it there.
Yes.
If you wanted to, does it act as a screen, or what does the
if
live
you had a
video-
camera, do you mean, or what? Sorry.
No, there was an app you were using and it said, it came up a wee picture of that you could record live.
Right.
Sorry,
It's
record
only yes. You mean MSQRD? It's
Oh,
only it'll record on the camera on this. So it'll
Oh,
record
right,
on
okay.
this. That's all it'll record on. So I'll show you what I mean.
Miss Jones?
You know,
Alright.
it record on whatever you're using there. So I'm gonna back on. So just back on this.
The smartphone.
I'm back on this now. So if I'm using it's my daughter. She's
Cutie.
6 weeks old. So
Oh,
Okay, shit.
she's,
Have you had sleepless nights?
okay. What's that?
Sleepless
She's been
nights.
okay. Actually, she's been alright. She's been okay. It's just getting used to it. Ball feeding's been tricky. She doesn't like it. So everything else she's been.
Oh
she's
God, look at her.
She's a wee bit.
Lovely.
She's sweetie.
Yeah,
What's her name?
Matilda.
Oh, I
That's
love
so
it.
cute.
We have a girl here whose granddaughter's Matilda as well.
Oh, she'd be going mad if she was hearing
taught for
her.
10 years and I didn't call it any until I feel I had to work in law boys school for 8 years, so I cut it down significantly. But even Emma, who's taught for say 7 years, hasn't taught any Matildas, so there's no one we have. You come across me like, can't use that, can't use that, can't use that.
Yeah, exactly. As I was gonna say, it's
So,
just name you just
We're
say, I'm not
snookered for
using.
boys, because I was all boys for 8 years, so now it's it was good, we're locked out in that way. So yeah, MSQRD is somewhere. Is there? No place. So if you press record, it will record this
Oh,
phone. I mean, it'll be on there anyway, but it'll record on the phone.
Sorry, that's what I meant. I thought you could do that on the board for the glass.
Well, you probably can. If you get a camera, like a USB camera, and plug it into one of these,
Oh yeah.
and the wee camera app here, that will run as a camera. So if you press that,
That's
so you
exactly
can
what I meant.
put that app on it, and you could use
A
it like that.
USB camera.
Yeah, you Amazon ones are free. Maybe 20, 30 pounds. I'm loath to talk about things like that. Apart from the Sphero because or the Cube, you spent money on this. I don't want to say here buy more of this, this, and this. Even because I'm not even Promethean, but I don't want people to spend more money because there's so much you can do without it. But if you wanted to, there are options there. You know, there's certainly plenty that you could do with it. We'll have a look. Okay.
Is there any other educational apps that you think we couldn't do without?
Well, do you know what? I'm doing something at the moment. I'll give you a link actually. Is what I'll do. Before I forget it. There is Promethean support. So if you Google Promethean support, what I'll do is I'll add it into your bookmarks. It's good. And there's actually a YouTube page as well, which is very good. And it has basically Promethean UKI is the YouTube page, and Promethean support will be the website page. There's loads of how-tos and how to do that, and there's thousands upon thousands, and it's all laid out very clearly. It's for teachers because it's all made by teachers and things like that. In terms of apps, I have a link which I'll give you.
I don't know about the likes of mathematics and everything, or just have it up to show them.
Oh, I'll tell you what, it's on here actually. I'll give you a link here.
We could download mathematics onto our app, couldn't we?
If it's an app, yeah, should be able to.
I
Yeah.
know.
Mhm.
GL. Sorry, I'm just looking for a picture here. I've saved an address on here somewhere.
Sorry, for the Promethean support then there's loads of apps and activities, is there?
There is. That'll be on the more flip chart stuff. To be honest, it wouldn't be so much for this. Basic support we have how to figure out how to do something. I'll tell you how to do it.
Alright.
And you sort of intimated you didn't really use ActivInspire. Do you use ActivInspire?
We haven't
Not
had a
really.
board in so long,
No,
and
we
such a long time
I
since
would always just use an actual board that is with that board, you know, the right.
Yeah. There are stuff on ActivInspire you can use on some of those pages, but as I say, if you don't use it, you don't need it. The thing I put in here, by the way, is a wee link to a Google Drive folder, and has all of my resources. Now, a lot of it is ActivInspire stuff, but a lot of it isn't. So, for example, there's some here. If you OPS app list, what I'll do is I'll download this for you. So there is a list of apps, PDF, and this is a list of the apps that you can download for your PS.
Oh, very good.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll download this, and we'll print it off. Show you to print it off. Yes, we do. It's fine. It's okay. Okay. And that. Let's go say.
And they're all can be downloaded from the Google or the
Yeah,
Play.
I'm going to email this to you yourself again, if it's
Uh-huh.
okay. What's your email? It should populate automatically.
Hey, McKiernan.
A?
McKiernan. Did it not come up?
It might do, yeah. But sometimes I have to allow it.
Yeah.
You have to allow it, actually. I'll email it to you now. So you can print that off. I emailed that PDF to you with all the apps on it,
Yeah.
and you can fill them up whatever ones you and just put it by
Oh,
topic
you've
as
got
well.
it done. Oh,
So-
brilliant.
Just put it by topic as well, so I'll show you there. You know, media and went around this cloud-based stuff,
Oh,
quizzes,
perfect.
music, classroom management, some you'll already use, coding, RE stuff, games, blah blah blah. So there's plenty there.
Interesting.
Literacy, all sorts of stuff there.
Perfect.
Cool.
Very
Cool,
much
cool.
so. Thank you so
No
much.
problem at all. Absolute pleasure. Do you want me to send that to you now, this video?
I'll be